everyone. Thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Briefing. Israel is sending out messages of solidarity to the United Kingdom after a terrorist attack in central London killed 6 people. The car ramming and stabbings turned what would have been a lively Saturday night into a scene of complete chaos, reminiscent of the Second Intifada. Israeli Public Security Minister Gilad Erdan is hoping that the UK will have greater understandings of Israel's experience now that it's suffered from extremist Islam-motivated attacks. Erdan is saying it's time for a new global alliance against terror. He calls Saturday's bloody scene an attack not just against the UK, but against Western values and democracy. For a lot of Israelis, the car rammings and stabbings bring to mind Palestinian terror methods that became popular after increased Israeli security measures essentially ended the threat of suicide bombings. Likud Knesset member and religious freedom activist Yehuda Glick says that the significant contribution by the Palestinians to the world is new methods of terror. There's not a lot that United States politicians can agree on, but passing pro-Israel resolutions through Congress is one of them. A group of senators, including Republican Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Democratic Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, are pushing a resolution to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. The legislation declares that Jerusalem should remain the undivided capital of Israel. Jerusalem is the home of people for the Jewish, Muslim, and Christian faiths, and the bill follows United States President Donald Trump's Thursday delay of a legally mandated relocation of the United States Embassy to Jerusalem. Schumer, a self-proclaimed guardian of Israel, says that the resolution reaffirms the Jerusalem Embassy Act of 1995 that states Jerusalem should remain an undivided city. The White House claims that the move will still happen, saying it's not a question of if, only when. The IDF has confirmed that the 2 rocket sirens that sounded Saturday were indeed false alarms. Earlier in the day, on Saturday, the air raid signal sounded across the southern Israeli Chof Ashkelon Regional Council by Gaza. Later, a second alarm went off at Camp Glilot, an army base near Tel Aviv in Ramat HaSharon. Both sirens were declared mistakes by the IDF, and according to military spokespeople, no rockets were actually fired from Gaza or otherwise on Saturday. The army is claiming technical malfunctions for the cause, but did not elaborate further as to what caused the technical malfunctions. Speaking ahead of an official visit to Africa this week, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said, quote, "Israel is returning to Africa in a big way," end quote. He said, quote, "The purpose of this trip is to dissolve this majority, this giant bloc of 54 African countries that is the basis of the automatic majority against Israel in the United Nations and international bodies." Netanyahu made these comments shortly before boarding the plane Saturday night to travel to Liberian capital Monrovia to take part in the annual ECOWAS conference. This visit makes the first that a non-African world leader will speak at the ECOWAS, or the Economic Community of West African States Conference. Netanyahu called this a badge of honor for the State of Israel. Not all of the African-American countries felt the same way, however. Morocco's foreign ministry stated that Moroccan King Mohammed VI will no longer be attending following the announcement of Netanyahu's invitation. Their official statement read that the king, quote, "wishes his first visit to the ECOWAS summit not take place in a context of tension and controversy," end quote. Over the past year, Prime Minister Netanyahu has led several major efforts to bring Israel and African nations closer. Efforts included hosting several African leaders, increasing technological and agriculture-based trade, and seeking new markets in which to otherwise further improve Israel-African ties. In October, Netanyahu is set to attend an African-Israeli summit in Togo, where he will meet with another 25 African countries' representatives. German automobile manufacturer Porsche is now establishing an innovation office in Israel. A statement released by the company on Thursday read in part, quote, "Porsche is a company that draws on innovation, and now it is establishing an innovation office in Israel," end quote. Promising first to invest an 8-figure sum in Israeli companies like Magma and Grove Venture Capital funds, Porsche is now hoping to establish a foothold in the future of smart cars and artificial intelligence, among other things. Quote, "Israel is a key market for IT experts and engineers. It has more startups per capita than any other country in the world. This talent and technological know-how, coupled with the great expertise offered by our employees, create the ideal breeding ground for future business models," end quote. This is according to Lutz Meschke, the deputy chairman of the executive board and member of the executive board for finance and IT at Porsche. Just as many manufacturers before them, Porsche seems to be refusing to be left out of the loop when it comes to the future of daily travel. The statements continue to read, quote, By setting up the office in Tel Aviv, Porsche intends to guarantee access to technology, trends, and talent. End quote. That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.